Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Patrick Mahomes as he has the chance to go to his 5th AFC Championship game in 5 years. In order to pull off that accomplishment, the Chiefs need to defeat the Jaguars at home as they have a superstar on the rise in Trevor Lawrence. The Chiefs seem to have a down year coming up for them before the season started, but they have proven a lot of sports pundits wrong with those takes so far. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. How impressed are you with the performance of Patrick Mahomes in 2022? And my level of impressiveness with Patrick Mahomes is always very high, but even this one, I say it's got to be beyond a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm answering it as 100. The impressiveness of what Patrick Mahomes is doing has been beyond incredible. Do you guys realize that Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill in the offseason? And even though Tyreek Hill balled out for the Miami Dolphins, Patrick Mahomes still looks amazing, even more amazing than he did before. I mean, we are seeing Patrick Mahomes in his prime right now. I know that Patrick Mahomes, he looked awesome his first 4 years in the NFL as a starting quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes has taken his greatness to another level. You look at what he's working with. He's shown that he's worth every penny of that $500 million contract, and that's how great Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes is so great as a player that no price is truly an overpay for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's what Patrick Mahomes does. He's got a career record of 64-16, which in other words means he wins 4/5 of this game, or to put things into better context, 80% of his games. But let's just talk about this year. You look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing. He's completed a career high in completion percentage, 67.1%. He's thrown for over 5,000 passing yards this year. And even if you took away his 17th game, he still threw for over 5,000 yards. But since you can't do that, well, then we're just going to say Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,250 yards. I mean, that's incredible. He led the NFL in touchdowns, at least throwing the ball with 41 passing touchdowns. He threw a touchdown on 6.3% of his attempts. So that means that when he was throwing in the air, he was being super efficient. Now the picks, yeah, they were at 12, and I know that might seem a little bit high, but it's Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. I think he can afford to have a few turnovers here and there. And you look at what he's working with in Kansas City. He's got Travis Kelce, who is the best tight end or the second best tight end, depending how you feel about what the role of the tight end should be in all of football. But Travis Kelce is basically a wide receiver. But also, you have to remember that Travis Kelce is in his 30s now. He's on the wrong side of 30, so Patrick Mahomes, he elevated him big time. And then you look at the receiving core of what the Kansas City Chiefs had. They had Juju Smith-Schuster, they had Mecole Hardman, they had Sky Moore, they had that Watson guy. I mean, oh yeah, they had Kadarius Toney. I mean, for the most part, the Kansas City Chiefs, if you look at their wide receiver room, you would probably be wondering, how could Patrick Mahomes achieve all of this? And the answer is really simple. It's because Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game. And I don't even really think there's even a number 2. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes and then everyone else. You look at what Patrick Mahomes can do. He can escape outside the pocket. He can throw with his left hand, apparently. He can run the ball too. He can sling it deep. You know, there's really no limit to what Patrick Mahomes can do. Patrick Mahomes, the only way he'll underthrow someone is if he wants to underthrow someone. I mean, that's how great Patrick Mahomes is. He can throw 70 yards on a field effortlessly. And you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs accomplished. 14 wins. Who would have thought that before the year started? I mean, I did pick the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship game before the year started. But how many of y'all agreed with me about that? And also about the fact that getting to the AFC Championship game is supposed to be a difficult task, but Patrick Mahomes has turned that into a yearly invitational. It's the Chiefs and then everyone else, and I think this year, I don't think any of that is changing. I mean, you look at the running game of the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't really get much from it. They got that Pacheco rookie, number 10 for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you got Jerick McKinnon, but those are not workhorse running backs. You look at what Patrick Mahomes is working with. He's really not working with much of anything. You look at his defense, not really working with much of anything either. Yeah, they got some talent, but nobody's going to say the Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to be the greatest defense in the world, or that they're going to be elite or even necessarily consistently good. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs, the only reason why they're 14-3 is because of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, and he's even had a career high in fourth quarter comebacks, which tells me he's coming through in the clutch. Patrick Mahomes has 4 fourth quarter comebacks this year. I mean, when you look at the greatness of Mahomes, throwing it 648 times this year, which is a lot if you ask me, he should definitely win the MVP. I don't even really think that there's even a close number 2 in the MVP race. It's Patrick Mahomes, and then it's everyone else. I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow can maybe argue for some votes. on Mahomes. But other than that, Patrick Mahomes, he should most definitely win the MVP. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' passer rating was through the charts, 105.2. These are video game type of numbers. I mean, you look at what Patrick Mahomes has done. He's a great player, and I'm not trying to be a fanboy of him, but the truth is what Patrick Mahomes is doing is beyond special. And I think it's gotten to the point where people are just so used to it that now he has become underrated. You talk about all the quarterbacks in the National Football League. You talk about Josh Allen, talk about Joe Burrow. You even talk about Tom Brady. Speaking of which, he's kind of become overrated these days too. You talk about all these quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence included, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. You just think about some of those quarterbacks right there, and yet Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't seem to be talked about enough. It's like, yeah, you see people on the shows, they talk about him like once or twice a week, but it's not like they're constantly raving about him. That's how you know Patrick Mahomes is so great, because if it was anybody other than Patrick Mahomes, then you would be constantly talking about his greatness and talking about, oh, did you see him make that throw? Now it's like, oh, yeah, that's Patrick Mahomes. Like, of course he's going to make that throw. Roll him to his left, throwing it across the middle of the field with no sleeves in him, making him look very easy. You know what? That's just Patrick Mahomes for you. I mean, they're just too used to it at this point. And Patrick Mahomes even had a career-high rushing touchdowns. He ran 4 touchdowns, added 358 yards on the ground. So Patrick Mahomes was very, very efficient running the football. He was also great throwing the football. I don't even really know what you could even use to defend Patrick Mahomes at this point. I mean, this is Patrick Mahomes in his prime, and he's just a great quarterback. He's doing this without Tyreek Hill, an elite receiver that he had on his team. Could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes had stepped into his own and still managed to have kept Tyreek Hill on their roster? I'm not saying that it would have happened in terms of being able to keep him on the roster, but just imagine. Patrick Mahomes might have actually broken the all-time record for most passing yards in a single season. That's how great Patrick Mahomes was. Patrick Mahomes threw for over 5,000 yards with a bunch of mediocre receivers. So I've just been really, really impressed with that. I mean, that to me just shows the greatness. And all these people that say Lamar Jackson, he doesn't have any receivers. I mean, Lamar, if you want to be an elite passer, go look at the tape of Patrick Mahomes and try to emulate what he does. I'm not saying you can't be Patrick Mahomes, but just try to emulate it. I just wanted to point that out. Patrick Mahomes is the standard of great quarterbacking in the NFL. So what do I see for this upcoming game? I want to address this upcoming game. You got the Jaguars and the Chiefs coming up this Saturday. The Jaguars, they're a hot team right now. They're on a major winning streak. They won 5 straight to end the year. They're winning 6 straight if you include the playoffs. 7 out of the last 8 games if you include the playoffs. They're coming out of a 27-point comeback against the Los Angeles Chargers. So they managed to pull that off. And so you know the Jaguars are going to be very, very confident in what they do. This is going to be teacher versus mentor, because Andy Reid and Doug Pearson, they used to be on the same coaching staff when Andy Reid was the head coach. So I find that to be an interesting battle. And although I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play pretty well against this Kansas City Chiefs defense, I don't think that he's going to end up winning this game, because you look at the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, you look at his ability to elevate any given player for his team on the football field. I think this one's actually going to be close, but the Chiefs will score a late touchdown, pull it away, and they're going to end up winning by 10. So I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game 30-20 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which means that Patrick Mahomes will advance to his 5th AFC Championship game in 5 years. So that is why the performance of Patrick Mahomes has been very impressive in the 2022 NFL season. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm going to shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @SportsGuyTalking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.